in the budget. The supplementary budget is to address food security following devastating floods across the country, as well as damages to road infrastructure and the water sector. A breakdown of the supplementary budget in the report by the Committee of Finance shows that the Ministry of Agriculture is to get 69 billion naira. The Ministry of Water Resources will get 15.5 billion naira. Federal Capital Territory is to get 30 billion naira, while the Ministry of Works and Housing will get 704 billion naira. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has written to the National Assembly to extend the date for the implementation of the 2022 budget from December 2022 to March 2023. The Senate President, Ahmad Lawan, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, read the letter at the plenary. Reports say the National Assembly had passed a revised budget of 17.31 trillion naira for the fiscal year 2022 following the President's earlier request to make adjustments to the 2022 budget, citing the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war on the country's economy. It was learned that President Muhammadu Buhari had recently written the National Assembly to approve a supplementary budget of 819 billion naira as a result of the impact of the flood on the roads across the country. The proposed 2022 appropriation supplementary budget submitted to the National Assembly for consideration, as well as recent 2022 capital releases to ministries, departments, and agencies are likely to be utilized before December 31st, 2022, due to the late release of the funds, which will lapse in the capital implementation is not extended beyond 2022. The National Monetary Fund has welcomed the steady implementation of tax automation system and recommended stepping up efforts to further expand coverage under a well-designed roadmap. In its report on Nigerian economy, the fund advised that in the midterm, authorities should develop a compliance improvement program and comprehensive customs modernization program, improve the effectiveness of the State Internal Revenue Services Administration of the pay-as-you-earn system, and strengthen interagency coordination and data sharing. It advised the Nigerian government on tax policy reforms to consider adjusting tax rates to levels comparable to the average in economic community of West African states as compliance improves. The fund also advised authorities to improve fuel subsidies and address oil theft as a major step down to narrow fiscal gap, which disproportionately benefits the well-off. By mid-2023, as planned, IMF recommended increasing social spending by up to 1.7 percentage points of gross domestic product during 2023-2027 in well-targeted programs in coordination with the World Bank and other development partners to mitigate food insecurity and cushion the impact of high inflation and fuel subsidy removal on the poor. The federal government has hinted that it will soon make pronouncements on salary increase for civil and public servants to cushion high inflation in the country. Minister of Labor and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, gave the indication after he met with President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. He said the Presidential Committee on Salaries has already begun a review and is expected to come up with an adjustment in the new year. The Commission is mandated by its Establishing Act to fix salaries, wages, and emoluments in not only the public service. It was learned that the minister had recently suggested the government would adjust worker salaries to meet up with economic realities in the country. In his drive to clean up the solid mineral sector, Osun State Governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, has ordered the immediate disbandment of the State Mining Joint Task Force. A statement by spokesperson to the Governor, Malam Olawale Rashid, indicates that the existing JTF is consequently directed to hand over all government vehicles and documents in their possession to the Solid Minerals Committee. As a follow-up to the disbandment, the state governors further issued instruction for the reconstitution of the JTF. It will be recalled that the state governor 2 weeks ago announced far-reaching reform of the solid mineral sector, which includes stopping unauthorized mining, addressing challenges of mining-related environmental degradation, and ensuring Osun State gets a due return from the sector. Governor Adeleke had also set up a solid mineral committee to look into activities of stakeholders within the sector with a view to put an end to revenue leakages, unauthorized appropriation of solid minerals, and tackling increasing criminal activities around the mining communities. In another development, Osun State project consultant for the Ilesha Water Project, Mrs. Tawa Williams, has been suspended with immediate effect over questionable handling of $106 million loan for the project. The state governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, in a statement by his spokesperson, Malam Olawale Rashid, further ordered full-scale probe of the entire project and disbursed loans, especially as there is no progress on the project despite reported disbursement of 10 billion naira and another 28 million naira and another $28 million on the project. According to the statement, the governor equally suspends the project coordinator to allow for unhindered review of the loan administration, while the consultant was directed to return to government the 70 million naira bulletproof Jeep in a possession. Governor Adeleke's directive was sequel to the interim report of the State Asset Recovery Committee chaired by Dr. B.T. Salami, which made recommendations for immediate action to stop further squandering of loans secured to execute the water project. The state chief executive frowned at large-scale corruption reflected in the handling of the loans and projects, an action he regretted as denied people of Ilesha and environs of potable water. Meanwhile, the Asset Recovery Team had submitted an interim report which revealed an ongoing large-scale pilfering of the procured loans, while the project recorded no progress commiserating with reported expenditure. According to the interim report of Salami-led committee, the Islamic Development Bank agreed to fund the project to the tune of $65 million, while the federal government provided $41.94 million. Children's End of the Year Party, organized by the Office of the Wife of the Governor in collaboration with the Ministry of Women and Children Affairs, holds tomorrow morning. This is contained in a release by the Coordinating Director, Ministry of Women and Children Affairs, Mr. Babajide Falade. It states that the venue is Government House Lawn, Government Residential Area, GRA, Osogbo. A philanthropic gesture organized to mark the 85th birthday of Pa Ezekiel Oterumbi holds tomorrow, are released by the organizers of the event, indicates that the celebrants will be giving back to widows in the community in appreciation to God for the grace to celebrate his 85th birthday. The release adds that the venue of the program scheduled for noon is the front of Osu Police Station at Akumosa, local government area of the state, courtesy of Honorable Shogo Oterumbi. And moving on to sports, Victor Osimhen has been ranked among the top 5 most expensive players in the Italian Serie A by Football Benchmark. Football Benchmark is the statistics website that provides in-depth understanding and analysis of the business of football and the market values of thousands of footballers. The Nigerian international is the 4th most expensive player in the Italian top flight at 18 million euros. At the top of the list is AC Milan's Portugal World Cup star Rafael Leao, who is valued at 90 million euro, followed by Inter Milan stars Nicolo Barella with 83 million euro and 2022 World Cup winner Lautaro Martinez with 81.5 million euro. Completing the top 5 is AC Milan's France national team Theo Hernandez with 95 million euro, who started the World Cup final against Argentina on December 18. Osimhen's stock is 12.5 million euro, more than last September when the season had just begun, going up from 65.5 million euro to 80 million euro, which is the most increase by any player on the list. While on the foreign scene, Pope Francis says former Pontiff Benedict XVI is very ill, urging people to pray for him before going to be by his side. Francis said this at the end of his general audience at the Vatican, adding that the Benedict, aged 95, who in 2019 became the first pontiff to reside in 6 centuries, has been in increasingly frail health. The Vatican confirmed Benedict's health has worsened in the last few hours and said Francis visited him after his audience. And that ends the evening news on Osbc TV. Do join us at 7 for the major reports. Good evening.